Hey guys, Derek here. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome for the first time if you are new. We are back to watch another episode of Shogun. The first episode I thought was incredible. I really enjoyed it, and I'm super excited to see more. So, before we jump into this episode, if you end up enjoying this reaction, please leave a like on the video. It means a lot to me, helps my channel grow. If you're new here or you find yourself coming back often, hit subscribe, ring the bell so you're notified when I upload. And then if you want to see the full uncut version of this reaction, consider either supporting me on Patreon or joining YouTube memberships. You just sync up your own copy of the show and you can watch along with me. But other than that, let's jump into episode 2 of Shogun. Okay, here we go. Osaka, 1 year ago. Is this his funeral? Oh, he's just a little dude. Okay, that is the heir. Sole Regent.
させれば敵方に結束を固める理由を与えることになりましょうな。まずはそれがし、続いて八重千代様のお命が狙われましょう。
Yeah, not very protective of an idea, you know.
ご勘弁いただきとう存じまする。
If he really wants to protect that kid, he's got to do it the smart way.
石戸、木山、大野、杉山。それにお主は八重千代が元服するまで権勢を分かち合うことになる。
Okay. How old is he now?
国の頂に立つ者。
The man who stands at the greatest height is the loneliest man in the realm. True. Can't truly trust anyone. Oh dang, we're getting an actual intro sequence? The water is sculpted sand. That's pretty cool. Shogun. What a fun sequence. Servants of two masters.
I fear he'll want a complete translation of this journal. Perhaps a bit too complete.
What is in the back there?
Good morning. My name is Martin Albitu, of the Society of Jesus. You must be the Anjin.
What does that mean?
It means pilot. You're in the court of Lord Yoshii Toranaga, and I am the interpreter to the Council of Regents.
Oh, good. So you'll be able to twist my words in your Portuguese favor.
Typically, yes, but with the girl there, Mariko, she'll tell the truth.
He wants to know why we are enemies.
Because our countries are at war.
国同士が争っているからと申しておりまする。
お前の国はどこじゃ。
Tell him where you're from.
England. Tell me about this
何故お
England.
前の国は通詞の王国と戦っておるのじゃ。
Why are you at war with my kingdom?
Religious reasons.
いずれもデウスが神だと信じておるのか。
Yes.
Yes. Catholics are a little iffy on it, though.
それゆえお前は海賊になったのか。敵のカトリックに戦を仕掛けるために本気で信じてもいない神を錦の御旗に掲げて。
I am not a pirate.
Kinda, though.
I cannot conceive of being an enemy to you, Lord.
わしにはたやすく思い描く。
Interesting that they cut out the translating part of it, and it's just them having a conversation.
Move.
This is Lord General Ishido, Toranaga's chief rival. If you value your life, do not say a word.
お主はこの城に偉人を招き入れたと聞き及んだのでの。
Sure.
なるほど。醜い。犬ごときの目。
The dog's face. He's probably a very attractive man outside of this show.
その方らの宗派にとってその男は目の上の単行部というわけよの。
Is he an offense to your faith?
お望みとあらば息子に命じて牢にでも放り込んでおきまするが。
揉め事の元にならなければよいのじゃ。
Okay, so why are you here?
You are to be detained.
For how long?
I do not know, Anjin, but I will pray for your soul.
What have you told him, you bastard?
You bastard.
There's clearly been some sort of misunderstanding. Where are you taking me?
To prison.
息子と一緒になって笑うとはお前はこやつを屋上中か何かと思うてるのか
Yeah, man. You need to chill.
今日虎長様が母上をお呼びになり偉人に会わせたのでございます。
殿はどのようなことでお前が呼ばれたのじゃ
To verify translations.
ポルトガル語を修行せよと。
何故お前の母はおとなしく家に収まっておれんのじゃ
Okay, I don't like this guy. Can we kill him?
虎長様がまたぞろをお呼びじゃ。お主ではない。
You're not important. So it's like an ego thing for him. He thinks he should be summoned to these meetings, not his wife.
してそなたの見立ては。
パードレ様は正直なお方にございまする。先ほどの通訳には何一つごまかしはございませんでした。
あの偉人の方は。
Yeah.
あの者には用心せねばという気がいたしまする。
そなたの宗派について偉人が申したことを気に障ったか。
試されて揺らぐような信号はまことなものとは申せません。
Facts. So many right-wing conservatives need to take that approach. That's how I feel. If you and your faith cannot be tested, it is not a strong faith.
まもなくキリシタンの大老木山と王を通じてあの偉人を大坂に置くことに抗議してくるであろう。
何故そこにキリシタンの大老が出てまいるのでござるか。
It's a good question.
殿に断罪が下されるのは残りの大老が結束して票を投じた場合のみにござります。殿はあの偉人を用いて石堂とキリシタンの大老との結束に
Smart.
ひびを入れるおつもりかと。
She is a smart cookie.
The Senor is real. Who are you?
Knock off Jeff Bridges.
Are these men all marked for death? Death is the only punishment here. Toranaga is a prisoner in Osaka Castle, isolated by his rivals on the Council of Regents. Sugiyama, descended from the richest samurai family in Japan. Ono, a feared warrior whose affliction of leprosy led him into the arms of the church.
Oh, interesting.
All of them are in the palm of Ishido, caretaker of the castle. Any day now, this man will vote on Toranaga's
So it's really
demise.
Ishido versus Toranaga.
If Toranaga claimed you as an ally, you'll never leave Japan alive.
Fat rip in the chat, but my guess is he will.
凛の方はつがなくお産もえわこも健やか。お世継ぎのお歳暮は江戸を離れる許しを得た。
虎長は斧が定めを受け入れたようじゃな。
さあ、賛否を問おうか。
It's so cruel that they put that guy behind a cloth so no one can see him.
その異端者がマニラにおいてキリシタンの信徒をなぶり殺しにしたという感化的な話もござるゆえ。 我らはその者の処刑を所望いたす。評決の前にじゃ。
Okay. So he's basically saying, I'm not going to go along with your vote unless this man is executed.
異端者は我らがデウスを侮辱し、
はてさてオミラはパードレどもが積み上げる山ほどの献上品がなかったとしても、そのデウスとやらに忠誠を尽くされるのでござろうか。
Probably not.
もはや猶予ござらん。虎中の件、賛否を問うぞ。
デウスの皆において要請する。異端者の処刑が先じゃ。
You a freaky looking guy. Get behind that cloth again. And trying to look at you anymore.
Toranaga was born Minwara, a name that carries great weight in Japan. His ancestors dominated this country, carrying with them a divine mandate.
Mandate.
A title revered through the ages.
Shogun.
Shogun. The Chinese ate Japan. So all trade goes through the Portuguese. It's usury. Leitako even tried to put a stop to it. But the church incited the rebellion, smuggled guns from that secret base in Macau.
I met a man who said he'd been to that fortress, said there were Japanese soldiers, hundreds of them, all converted to Catholicism. Are you telling me the Lord's here? Don't know.
Oh, that's probably what the end of that journal that they don't want translated was.
The church is doing all it can to keep your business running on time.
You mean our business?
Yeah, it's our business. But the church would prefer that the public sees it as your business.
Lady Maria,
Mariko.
the dark thoughts you have confessed to me in the past, are they still with you? I trust you know I pray for you.
What are her dark thoughts? Like suicide? She wants to die?
お主がなぜあの箕輪の末裔に忠義を尽くすのか合点かいかぬ。あれは情けを知らぬ男じゃ。
'Cause he's awesome?
虎長はあの者の衣服に今日惹かれておるのじゃ。
あやつがもたらしたものにございましょう。大筒20門に鉄砲500丁。
そんなものなら日の本にもある。
It's just extra.
いずれキリシタンのご大老方が敵に回ると踏んでおいでかと。たわけたことを。我ら大老師の絆は盤石よ。
Yeah, not so united though. They're a little ununited.
虎長公が断罪に処された後の動きに。
お主も主君に準ずることになるの。
仰せの通りで。まあ我が身の行く末はさておき。やがて石堂様の力がも。
Who will they set their sights on next?
わしに勝ち目はなかろうな。
されど石堂様が例の偉人を手に入れ、さらに手なずけ得る知恵者を配下に置けば潮目は変わりましょう。
And you wish to be that vassal? You can act as the force that saves him under the name of Toranaga, but really for that guy. Who's this random old guy? Okay. Oh, interesting choice, keeping it all on his face. For the most part. Just let that old dude go. He didn't see a damn thing.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. No No witnesses. He's learning a little bit. The political games we are playing.
こやつが処刑場に引き立てられておる途中、盗賊に襲われておりまして、そこに図らずも拙者が通りかかった次第。
Sure.
図らずもの運に恵まれておるようじゃの。
Very convenient.
汚い男じゃな。
Yeah, he needs a bath for sure.
I know I am considered an enemy in your country, but I assure you,
we are friends.
My queen is wise and thoughtful, and would want to be your ally.
How good of an artist is he?
The earth is round.
世界は丸いと申しております。
Like a fruit. We came by way of Magellan's Pass.
この大陸を回ってきたと申しておりまする。
We are the first outsiders to use it because the Spanish and the Portuguese kept it secret.
この航路はポルトガルとスペインの秘密の航路であると。
Okay, yeah. Smarter.
Because we had to avoid a Portuguese base in Macau.
マカオにポルトガルの砦があるゆえと申しておりまする。
It employs Japanese mercenaries. I'm told you call them Ronin. This is the way Portugal and Spain carved up the New World. 70 years ago, they signed a treaty that split undiscovered land between them. Your country falls.
The Portuguese side, yeah.
So it belongs to them.
ポルトガルとスペインの2つの国が東洋の島々を分け合ったと信じているようでございます。日の本は
Interesting.
ポルトガル領だと申しております。
He's insinuating that the Portuguese believe they own Japan, and thereby insulting the Japanese against Portugal.
Each Spanish and Portuguese king has the right to lay claim to any non-Catholic land they discover and to replace its government with Catholic rule.
This is a lie.
No.
It is not. Stories by yours and his. For sure. Oh, he came
He
not
asks what you seek here.
for anything here. He came to kill the Portuguese.
To vanquish our common enemies.
My master says you should not war against the Portuguese in Japan. You are outnumbered. It is hopeless.
He doesn't care.
Unless I win.
己が勝てば望みはあると申しております。
Straight, son. Damn straight. He likes that answer.
今宵は西の丸に泊まれと伝えよ。
These women can assist you in preparation for your bath.
Thank you, but I've already bathed.
Oh, in the prison?
No, in the village.
Yeah, before that.
But that was some time ago.
2 days.
2 baths in a week. But do you want me to catch the flux?
What is the flux?
You will please address me as Mariko-sama.
Okay. Sure, yeah. I think she prefers being called Mariko than Lady Maria.
このような夜更けに何をしておる
Oh. She is an assassin. Damn, she's just straight up killing people. She is good. What a badass, honestly.
殿、お怪我はござりませぬか。
かくなる上は戦じゃ。いや、これは石堂の仕業ではない。刺客が狙ったのはわしではなく、
Came for him.
この男よ。
Smart, smart, smart. Okay, the political games are in full flow right now, and it is very, very engaging. I saw a tweet of a quote from like the showrunner or producer, one of the two, where he talked about how they had seen the comparisons between this show and say like Game of Thrones, and he said it's a little more similar to like House of Cards or Succession, where I think what they mean by that is like there's gonna be a lot less outright like action, and a lot less like Game of Thrones is very like large grand story type fantasy type stuff to an extent. There's a decent amount of like political machinations in the show, but I think it's still set within like a fantasy setting, if that makes sense. Whereas like Succession or House of Cards, like the setting itself is kind of like political. And he talks about how like simple conversations in this show can lead to like some very violent ends. And that's something you definitely learn from like shows from Succession, is like so much of Succession like is not like grand scale. It's literally just like people talking to each other, and you know your Succession is it's literally just people talking and trying to make more money, and it is still some of the most engaging television to ever exist, right? Like you can have entire episodes dedicated to like a product launch that in the grand scheme of things isn't that important, but the relationships between the characters and the dialogue that's coming across, and like the things that can happen within that and adjacent to that are just like so palpable and so intense that it just you're on the edge of your seat, just like, oh my god, like this is insane. And I very much got that from this episode. Like just the conversation alone, where he is just like drawing the map in the sand and like revealing to these people that the Portuguese are not their friends, was so engaging and so intense that I was just like, I don't know, I felt like I didn't say anything. I was just kind of like, oh my god, like things are happening. But like you can already tell just the different political sides of this engagement, of like people playing each other against certain ways. Like we have the 5 regions, of which Toranaga is one of them. The other 4 are like theoretically a united front. You know, they're not supposed to be a united front. They're supposed to be, you know, 5 individuals who have their own interests and vote independently, but they're operating as like a singular unit against Toranaga. And at the same time, at least 2 of them are kind of like sponsored by like the Christian priests. Specifically, at least one of them, more so than the others, is receiving like substantial amounts of wealth from you know, the Christian church, or the Catholic church, I should say. And, you know, because of that, he votes along their interests. The other one is like leprosy, and so has like gone to the church because of that. And it's just very interesting. It's very interesting that like they all play that against each other. Like that was Toranaga's like whole plan. once he realized that there was a Christian that he could bring here, he was like, I'm going to use that to cause some infighting amongst them, and hopefully that means I won't die. and it worked. It worked perfectly, honestly. You know, he's causing the infighting. He's started the stir amongst them where they can't really fully trust each other, and they won't necessarily go along with each other's plans when they know that each other has different interests. And so, like, one of the main conflicts of this episode is the Portuguese have a secret base on Macau where they train Ronin, essentially. And the Japanese don't like that, right? Japanese don't like Ronin. They're not fans of it at all. That is one aspect I remember from the game Ghost of Tsushima, is like you start out as a samurai. Like you are a samurai warrior. You're all about honor. Like when you fight people, you challenge them directly, like out in the open. You challenge them. You don't, attack from the shadows, all this stuff. And throughout that game, as you become the Ghost of Tsushima, people start referring to you as kind of like a Ronin, where you're not necessarily going things about super honorable. You're, using tactics they wouldn't consider right. And it's just very interesting that this base is essentially training a whole bunch of Ronin to use as mercenaries, which would offend the Japanese people, obviously. And man, just I don't know, the whole conversation where he's drawing the map was so good, because he is one trying to stay alive, and he is giving them information that they want and is good for them to know, but he's also giving it in a way that's like, uniting them against his enemies, because he's mentioning how, Spain and Portugal have divvied up the world, essentially, and is like, hey, Portugal has been given your land. They own it. And he's letting them know, like, Portugal believes they have ownership over your land and over your people, and they are going to slowly and methodically try and replace your leaders with their own. And he's right. He's right. The Catholics and Portugal would want to do that. He's conveniently not telling them that if the English were in that position, they would also very much do the same thing, right? The only reason that they're not outright like coming in and being like, hey, we own this place, you are ours now, is because Japan is a formidable military presence. If they thought that Japan was not able to defend themselves and was just a valuable, trade ally or valuable trade route, they would just take it over. They wouldn't waste time with all this. They would just be like, yep, this is ours. So he's conveniently leaving out the fact that like England would very much do the same thing, and England has a history of doing the same thing. England, that is where most nations, like I would say a substantial portion of the world, can trace back at some point in their history to England being like, hey, we own you. And then at some point they like either fought for independence or just declared independence. Like the biggest one, obviously, United States of America was once an English colony. And so many other nations can trace back a similar history. So for Blackthorn to suggest that the English would not do that and the English are on his side is just kind of convenient, like shifting of the truth. He's telling them all true things, but if they were to question, hey, would your people do the same thing? Of course they would. But he has seemingly secured himself an ally to an extent, right? Like he's not going to be murdered by Toranaga, and Toranaga, sees him as kind of a friend, or at least a useful pawn in his game as well. And it's just very interesting. But yeah, and then obviously the Christian leaders are like, hey, we can't have this guy alive if he's going to be spreading secrets that we don't want the Japanese to know. And so they go to assassinate John Blackthorne. But they don't know that Toranaga and Blackthorne have essentially switched rooms, and that he is sleeping in his room. So when they go to kill Toranaga, or when they go to kill Blackthorne, Toranaga's in that room. He cuts the lady down, but then Blackthorne also steps in and kind of like protects him a little bit. He didn't need protection, but it was more of the message that it sends, right? They're friends. And then pushes that lady out, all dramatic styles, just like oof, just like so badass. And it's just so cool, all of this. But then there's so many different political games being played, even within his own house, Toranaga's house. So what was his name? Yushibe, the guy that almost drowned last episode. He is technically in Toranaga's like fief, or you know, he swears fealty to him, but he's also like low key working for Ishido, right? Because he has this talk with Ishido where he's like, hey, it's probably better if this dude is alive, because if he dies and then you kill Toranaga, you're the only one left against these Christian leaders, and then instead of you four being united against him, it's going to be those three united against you, and you will lose that fight. And so he essentially frees Blackthorne under the direction of Ishido, but for Toranaga, and it's just like he's kind of like a spy within a family, and I'm very curious to see how he chooses to go about things going forward. But I am very excited to see more of this show. I think it's super, super good so far. And from what I have seen online, it is currently at like a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's like one of the highest rated TV shows ever. Like, it's just incredibly good. And so far, that is my interpretation of things as well. Like, it's so freaking good. As I'm recording this, what is technically Monday morning, Sunday night really, the next episode comes out tonight at like 11. Who knows if I'll have this episode up by then, I don't know, but I'm gonna be watching the next episode tonight as well, so I'm super, super excited. It's gonna be a great time. Definitely let me know what you guys thought down in the comments below. I'm very curious to hear all your thoughts. Otherwise, if you enjoyed my reaction, please leave a like on the video. It means a lot to me, helps my channel grow. If you're new here or you find yourself coming back often, hit subscribe, ring the bell so you're notified when I upload. And then if you want to see the full uncut version of this reaction, consider supporting me on Patreon. That is linked in the description down below. But other than that, thank you for watching, and I will catch you guys next time.